everyone, it's Missy, and I got a request from a viewer to show you guys how to crochet a poncho for your doll. I did a few web searches and I was kind of shocked to find out that there wasn't a free pattern out there for you. I did come across a crochet chart on how to make one for a baby. And I'm going to give you guys the link down below in the description box. Considering that I have a lot of you that are experts at crocheting all the way down to beginners, I don't know how many of you know or have seen a chart on how to crochet. It's a pattern that's in a chart form, kind of like for knitting and so forth. So if you can, visit the link. If not, I'm going to do the best I can to explain it to you guys. And it shouldn't be too hard. It's the basic granny square poncho that a lot of people crochet for kids and whatnot. The thing to remember is to do your chains in a multiple of 8 and have the beginning chain stitches that we're going to do in a little bit fit over your doll's head. So, you know, make sure that you test it out on the doll if you can, to make sure that it will fit over the doll's head before you go and do the rest of the stitches. But I'm going to make mine in a multiple of colors. This is the perfect project to break out your stash of different colored balls of yarn. It's going to be a really colorful one. I'm going to try to mirror the picture that I found in the pattern because I thought it was really cute. I'm using worsted weight yarn or 4-ply. For those of you who are familiar with Red Heart yarn, it'll be like Red Heart Super Saver yarn in the various colors. I'm using navy blue, a bright green, yellow, white, a light pink, and an orange. And then I'm using a size G hook or a 4.25 millimeter crochet hook. I also have a pair of scissors. And for those of you who weren't sure about the doll size head, I have a ruler here. I'm making my chain stitches just about 1/2 inch over a foot. So about a foot. For those of you who are on the metric system, it would be about, I want to say 31 centimeters, 32 centimeters, something like that. Sorry, I'm in the United States, guys, so when you guys are contacting me for those metric measurements when you're out of the country, we really don't use the metric system where I live, so thankfully it's on our rulers, but I'm pretty sure I got that about right. So, what you're going to do is I'm going to start with navy blue. Start with whatever color you guys want. You can do it all in a solid color. It's up to you. I'm going to start with navy blue. I'm going to make a slip knot. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap the yarn around to form a loop, put my thumb over, if I can get this straightened out, like so. So I got my loop formed. I'm going to bring the yarn down, insert my hook in and under, and then pull through just like that. That's my slip knot. And I'm going to chain 64 chain stitches. So you want to yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And as you guys are doing this, your gauge for crocheting is probably different than mine, so if you can measure your stitches, and just remember to keep it in a multiple of 8, so maybe you guys have to do 56 chains, or maybe you guys have to go and do 72 chain stitches. It's whatever you need to do. If you need to increase your crochet hook size, decrease it. There's really no set pattern here, like I said, but I'm pretty sure you can all figure it out. It's not going to be too hard. And what I like about this pattern is you can create a poncho from this on a multiple of 8 for your daughter or your child or grandchild, whatever it is, to match the doll. I mean, that would be a great, fun Christmas project if you want to do that. And I'm going to try to finish up these chain stitches here as fast as I can. Alright, I counted and I have 64. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this out as best I can so you all can see. So I have my ruler at the very edge, and I guess mine turned out to be about 1 inch longer. So I'm going to say 35 centimeters. So an inch or a foot and 1 inch, or 35 centimeters long. And it should fit over the doll's head. I'm not gonna test it In my other patterns, I know that's about the length I make hat brims when I sew. So, now, if you want to keep your chain as flat as possible, you don't want it to be twisted. Sometimes you have to lay it down on your table or work surface or whatever you need to do. And then we're going to put our hook in the very first chain we made. And we're going to slip stitch it together to form a ring. As if I can get my hook in there. There we go. So I got the 2 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to pull that loop through the 2 stitches. Just like that. And now we got our foundation chain done. And now we're going to single crochet around. So how we're going to do that was we'll chain 1. And then we're going to single crochet in the next stitch. And I'm trying to weave in my tail as I go. So I'm trying to make sure. This yarn is old too, so it's splitting on me, which I don't like. There we go. And bring up a loop, yarn over, and draw it through the 2 loops on your hook, and that's a single crochet stitch. And I'm going to do that again with the next one. I'm going to insert my hook through that chain stitch, yarn over, pull through a loop, so there's 2 loops on my hook, yarn over again, and pull through those 2 loops. And this is the only time we'll be single crocheting around. A granny square is made of a multiple of double crochet stitches and chain stitches. For the most of the time, I should say. The majority of the time I've done granny squares, that's the way I do it. But I'm just going to continue to single crochet around, and then we should have at the end 64 single crochet stitches, as long as we just keep following this pattern. And you guys don't have to weave in your tails either if you don't want to. You can wait till the end to do that. I just like doing it while I'm stitching because it saves me another chore of using a tapestry needle to do it with. Just like that. So I'll come back when I get closer to the end and show you how to do a slip stitch to finish off the round. Okay, so I just finished 60 single crochets, so I'm going to do my last 4. 61, 62, 63, and 64. And then I'm just going to make a slip stitch on the top of the first single crochet that I made. And there you have it. So we're making this from the top down. So this will be around the shoulders, neck. I'm going to fasten off my yarn now because I'm going to switch colors. So just going to pull the yarn through just like that. And I'm going to switch over to white. And I'm just going to make another slip knot. And you don't have to switch colors if you don't want to. You can switch them each row. It's all up to you. I'm just going to insert my hook into the top of one of those stitches. Bring my yarn around back. And then just slip stitching it on. Like so. So now I have 2 tails I need to weave in. And this is where we're starting our granny squares. So to make that, you're going to chain 3. And that's going to count as a double crochet stitch. And now you're going to double crochet in the next stitch. So right in there. And then you're going to double crochet again in the next stitch. And that's your granny square. So to separate our granny squares, we're going to chain 1. We're going to skip the next stitch, and we're going to double crochet in the next 3 stitches. This will create that space needed for our next granny square stitch. So if we're going to have like this checkerboard type pattern is what I like to call it. And this is an easy stitch that you can, I think most beginning crocheters start out with the granny square stitches. It's kind of neat to learn. I particularly don't like granny square stitches. That's just my preference. I like to do the more complicated ones, the more challenging ones. I think they're fun. So I'm just going along. If I can pull my tail through, there we go. So I'm just double crocheting in 3 stitches, chain 1, skip that stitch, and double crochet in the next 3 stitches, chain 1, skip that stitch, and then now I'm double crocheting in the next 3. So I did 1, now I'm going to do number 2, and then number 3. And then just chain 1, and it's just all the way around. And this is why it was important that we started out with a multiple of 8 as our foundation, because if you don't, it's not going to line up right. So I'm just going to continue on with this pattern. I'll come around to the other side and I'll show you guys the next step. Okay, so I reached my last set of stitches, so I just chained 1. I'm going to skip that stitch, and I'm going to double crochet into the next stitch. I'm going to chain 1 and skip the last stitch, and I'm going to join in the top of my beginning chain 3. Like I said, I'm using really old yarn, so it keeps splitting on me, but there we go. So that's our foundation granny squares. It's starting to look like something. I'm just going to keep the same color. I'm just going to keep using white. And now I'm ready for round 3. And to start, we're going to chain 3. And now we are just, I'm wondering if I should turn my work. I haven't been doing that, and I have a feeling I better turn my work. Yeah, I'll do that. We're going to turn our work. I'm trying to follow. When I do rounds, I typically don't do that, but something tells me I should, so I'm going to do that. I'm not used to reading such a basic chart, I guess. So I'm going to double, we're going to be working in these spaces. That's why I did that. I don't want to work in these stitches like we did down here. I want to work in this space. So I just chained 3. I'm going to chain another one. So it's 4, because that's going to be our chain 3, which counts as a double crochet in our chain 1 space. Because we're going to have 2 sets of 3 stitches in here. I'm going to double crochet in that space 3 times. And then I'm going to chain 1. And then I'm going to double crochet in this space 3 times. Oh, and somebody told me I better teach you guys all the basic stitches in all my tutorials. So to make a double crochet, you yarn over, insert your hook through the space or stitch, yarn over again, pull through a loop, so you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over again, pull through 2 loops, so you have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over again, and pull through those 2 loops. I depend more on you guys watching other videos to learn how to do that, but I got called out. I thought, hey, you should do this each time, so I better do it each time. So chain 1, we're going to double crochet 3 times in this space. So you're just, this goes really fast when you get the stitches down. That you're just going to double crochet 3 times in each chain 1 space below, and in between there you're going to chain 1 until we get to the other side. Now I wish I had some better yarn. That's what happens when you use up old scrap yarn. It separates because yarn does start to disintegrate or something over time sitting in those bags. So I continued with that pattern, and now I'm halfway around. I have 8 of those sections, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 of those squares, and now I'm going to do the 9th one. And the 9th one is going to be a little different. We're still going to double crochet 3 times into that space. But now we're going to chain 1, and now we're going to increase. And how we do that is we're going to double crochet 3 more times into that same space. And then chain 1. So what you ended up with is putting 2 blocks in one, or increasing or making that angle. That's going to be that point that you see that comes down the front in a poncho. This is upside down. So it's be worn on the doll like that. And you'll see that better when we do our 4th round, when we come around and do that. But then you continue on. I already chained 1, so I'm going to double crochet 3 times in the next space. And I really like how I'm following this pattern exactly on the chart. So somebody must have made it for a, well, they said they made it for a baby, but I'm kind of skeptical because this is pretty small for a baby. I'm thinking this is a doll chart that somebody put in that blog. And they just resized it for a baby, but who knows? The original pattern they said was removed from the site, so I also feel like I'm kind of making it up as I go too, doing my own spin on it. But if you guys do have any questions, make sure to leave me a comment below. I'll try to help you out the best I can. Okay, so I just finished that last, those last 3 double crochets in that last space, and I chained 1. And now I'm back to the starting space, and what I'm going to do is just double crochet in there twice, because that chain 3 again counts as a double crochet stitch. So all we have to do is slip stitch in the 3rd chain of that chain 3. Or it's chain 4, so I want to leave a chain open for that space there. So I'm going to do it right there. And that's going to create our increase on this side, or the other point in our poncho. Just like that. So I'm gonna switch colors. I'm gonna cut that tail, pull through the string, it's going to kind of start looking like that. So you got that little point started. And now I'm going to go to orange. I'm hoping this yarn is going to work better for me, because I was having a terrible time with those other ones. go. And then I'm just going to attach my yarn. I think, I'm trying to look at the pattern. I'm inside out right now from where I started, so I think I'm going to turn this right side out. And then I'm going to go back around again. I think, yep, I'm going to turn my work again. So I'm going to insert my hook into this chain 1 space in the middle where we have those 2 sets of 3 double crochets. So I'm just going to slip it in there. And then I'm just going to do a slip stitch, so yarn over and pull through all those loops and get my yarn situated. And now I'm going to chain 3. And on this one, I think I'm just going to double crochet twice. And then chain 1. And then I'm just going to continue on where I double crochet 3 times in each space around, making sure to chain after I do that. Do a chain 1 and then double crochet 3 times in the next space. So it's really going to be the same pattern in the next rounds that I'm making. So like that. And you can really start to see the granny squares starting to come. And I gotta weave in my yarn something different here because I don't want that orange showing. I'll pull these out and I'll weave them in the right way with the needle. There we go. So it's supposed to look like that. Nice blocks. And I'm just going to continue around till we get to the middle where we had increased, and I'll show you what we do there when I get to that spot. Okay, when you get to this middle increase where we have these 2 sets of 3 double crochets in that one space, we have that chain 1 space in the corner, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to double crochet in there 3 times. And then we're going to chain 1, and we're going to double crochet in there again 3 times. So you see how it opened up that space on that 3rd round? And when we keep doing that, it's just going to keep opening it up, so that way we have our increase. And I'm just going to continue on down, so the next side, so I'm going to chain 1 and just do 3 double crochets. In the next space. I'm going to continue all the way back around to where I started. So I made it back around, and I am now at the beginning space where I started. So I'm going to double crochet 3 times again in that space. And this is going to create that increase again that I'm looking for. It's 2 and 3, and then I need to chain 1 to create that space. And now I can slip stitch in the top of the 3rd chain of my beginning chain 3, if I can get my hook through there. And then this is going to complete my orange round. I'm going to switch colors again because I want to make this really colorful, and I really like the picture of the color selection on the blog that I found, so I'm just following that. So once I have that done, I'm just going to cut a tail and then yarn over and pull through the yarn. And there we have it. So it's starting to really come together. I think you guys can see now the point that I'm creating with the poncho, and it's the V-look. That's what I'm aiming for. I'm just going to switch now to green, and green is actually the last round that they show in this chart, but it follows the same principle when you're doing these different colors. I think I'm just going to do what I did the last time. I'm just going to insert my hook, and I'm just going to attach now the green color, chain 3, and now I'm going to work in true rounds, and I'm just going to double crochet 2 more times to create that double crochet 3 block, like so. Then I can chain 1, I'm going to go along the spaces where I double crochet in there 3 times. As you can see, this pattern is just going to keep repeating and repeating and repeating. So I'm not going to make a video of going around again. If you guys need to, you can just back up and follow the orange row, because I'm still going to be increasing like I do on each end, where I do the 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets when I get halfway through, and then when I come back I'm going to 3 double crochet in this space, chain 1, and attach it to the top of the beginning, chain 3. And I'm going to do the green. After I do green, I'm going to do yellow, then I'm going to do pink, and then I'll come back when I hit the, go back to the navy blue again, because that one is going to be a little bit different, because that's going to be our edging round of the poncho. But I'll show you guys when I get finished with the pink. Okay, I finished the yellow and the pink rounds, and I'm gonna do my last round. So for the granny squares, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there's gonna be 7 rounds, and that works out perfectly for the doll. You can make as many or as few rounds as you want, but I just wanted to show you how I'm gonna do the edging. I'm gonna use the same color that I used for the collar of the poncho, just so that way it ties all together. But again, you guys can do whatever you want color-wise. So I'm just gonna take my yarn, I'm going to make a slip knot, and I'm just going to start it off just like all the other rounds, where I'm going to insert my hook through the chain 1 space, and I am going to make a slip stitch. I'm going to chain 3 and double crochet twice in that same space. And chain 1, so I have my 3 double crochets there, chain 1, and then I am going to, if I can get my yarn moved back, there we go. I'm going to double crochet 3 times in the next space. And I thought this was a nice, quick pattern to do, and like I said, you guys can adjust the pattern however you need to. And this would be cute if you can make one for a girl to match her doll. I'm going to continue on down the row. And once you get down to the corner where we do the increases, we're going to double crochet 3 times in there, just like we have been doing. And instead of chaining 1, we're going to chain 3. And that will give us that nice finishing corner. Then double crochet 3 more times into that same space. And now you have that nice point on the end. And then we'll just continue on like we have been down to the end. When you reach the end, we will again double crochet 3 times in the space to make our increase. And instead of chaining 1, we'll chain 3 times. to get that nice pointed corner. And then we are going to slip stitch in the top of the chain 3. And then that's it, so I'm just going to fasten off. I'm going to cut my tail, pull the yarn through, and then of course I'll have to weave in all my ends. But that's about what it's going to look like. I think it turned out really pretty. I got my doll over here. Just going to move some stuff. And I think it works out really great if it goes with, being this is so colorful, I decided to put on her denim pleated skirt and her white shirt. We're going to just put this over her. See how that looks. I gotta get her hair out. There we go. I think it turned out really well. Let's see if I can back you up so you can kind of see more of her. I think if I can get this, maybe I can stand her up so you guys can see her even better. There we go. There. I think this project turned out really well. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, if you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. I will have a link in the description box showing where I got this pattern from. And it will have a picture of this poncho with this color scheme. And then it gives you that chart too if you know how to crochet from the chart. Other than that, thanks for watching. If you like my video, please give me a thumbs up. Bye!